Folks, there is a new update on Social Security's COLA, and experts are now predicting a much smaller benefit decrease. And tomorrow, many seniors and retirees will see their second payment for the month. The payments will be going to automatically your bank account. And there is just one day left until recipients of SSI in the program will receive a second payment in June. It's worth up to $914 for individuals. Millions of Americans also depend on Social Security payments just to make the ends meet. Retired workers are the largest group of beneficiaries, but children, spouses, and disabled individuals may also receive these benefits from the government. So while Social Security benefits are initially calculated using a worker's earnings record, monthly payments would quickly lose their purchasing power if things never change. And to prevent that from happening, legislation enacted in the 1973s will be annualated for the COLA. Known as COLAs, this adjustment can vary significantly from year to year. Some say they don't even adequately reflect increases in the senior expenses. Still, the 2023 COLA was the largest in decades, and it was undoubtedly welcoming for the largest Americans, the older Americans too. Most years, the Social Security COLA is an increase in a beneficiary's monthly payment amount, just as workers receive COLA increases in their wages or salaries too. Social Security benefits and recipients generally receive a boost in benefits each January. Instead, the COLA is intended to help benefits keep up with inflation. On the rare occasions when there is no inflation, Social Security payments remain flat in the following year. The Social Security Act just stipulates that the Consumer Price Index, or CPI, be used to determine COLAs. But several variations of the CPI are available, and the Social Security COLA is just tied to the CPIW, which is the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners. This index is calculated by the Federal Bureau of Labor Statistics each month. The Social Security COLA uses the rate of the CPIW in the third quarter of the year every single time, just to determine the following year's COLA. It means by the 2023 Social Security COLA was calculated by comparing third quarter CPIW to third quarter of the previous year. But to address this concern, it has been suggested that the Social Security Administration use the CPIE, which is intended for an experimental measure for the expense of American ages 62 and up. For instance, for 2022, the CPIE was more than 1 percentage point lower than the CPIW. In other words, if the SSA have used the CPIE last year, retirees would have seen a 4.8% increase in benefits instead of the 5.9% bump they received. For now, it doesn't appear there are plans to change how Social Security COLA is calculated, and it will likely continue to be based on the CPIW for the foreseeable future. The Social Security COLA for 2023 was 8.7%. That is a large increase since 1981, when the COLA was 11%, but not everyone received an 8.7% increase in the payment amount. That percentage is applied to a retiree's primary insurance, which is benefit that they would receive at their full retirement age. Some retire earlier or later than the full retirement age, which means the increase to their benefits could be slightly different from 8.7%. Even those who receive the full 8.7% may find that it doesn't even cover their increased cost. In that case, it may be necessary to consider ways to bridge the gap. Unlike job salaries, though, we don't know if Social Security COLA will cover everything.
Check to paycheck. And because of inflation, a bad situation has been made worse. Millions of people today are wondering how they're going to pay their rent, how they're going to buy the food to feed their kids, how they're going to pay off their debt. That is what's going on for half of the people in our country. I know we don't talk about them. They have no representation here, no lobbyists, no nothing, but that is the reality. Does this reconciliation bill address their needs? Does it raise the minimum wage to a living wage? Or do we continue to allow so many workers to try to get by on 10, 12, 13 bucks an hour? Does this bill make it easier for workers who want to join a union to be able to do so, or they continue to be attacked by their employers, making it hard to form a union? No, this bill does nothing to address that reality. Mr. President, at a time when, tragically, this country has the highest rate of childhood poverty
that are geared toward families and education. First Lady Jill Biden is going to Maine and New Hampshire as well, while Vice President Kamala Harris is scheduled to visit a union training center in Las Vegas. Joe Biden said the key is getting his $973 billion deal passed involves taking a case straight to the voters, while Republicans and Democrats might squabble in Washington. Biden's theory is that lawmakers of both parties want to deliver for the constituents. White House officials negotiated the compromise with a bipartisan group of senators led by Republican Rob Portman of Ohio and Democrat Kyrsten Sinema of Arizona. The agreement features $109 billion on roads and highways, $15 billion on electric vehicle infrastructure and transit systems, and $65 billion toward broadband, among other spending on airports, drinking water system, and effort to take down climate change. The White House officials negotiated the compromise with a bipartisan group of senators led by Republican Rob Portman and Kyrsten Sinema.
There is a move not to preserve Social Security from those on the other side of the aisle, too many of them, but to end it.
The president intends to pass additional initiatives on education and families, as well as tax increases on the wealthy and corporations through the budget reconciliation process. This would allow the passage of President Biden's priorities by a simple majority vote, avoiding the 60-vote hurdle and a Senate split evenly between Democrats and Republicans. But during a town hall meeting, Maryland Governor Larry Hogan toward House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer for holding the bipartisan infrastructure bill endorsed by Biden in order to gain leverage on other spending bills. Larry Hogan spoke about the $953 billion infrastructure bill that was endorsed by Biden, saying the plan will put Americans back to work and will improve the American infrastructure. Hogan called the bipartisan bill a moment for us to show the American people that Congress is able to work together to deliver bipartisan, common sense solutions to all of our problems. What are your thoughts on Speaker Pelosi, everybody, and Chuck Schumer? Are they doing all that it takes to help out the American people like you and I? Leave a comment down below, folks, saying yes or no. Governor Hogan also stated that they're holding the bill as leverage for other spending bills, that we can debate about whether these are worthwhile proposals or not, but they have nothing to do with infrastructure and they don't have bipartisan support. The governor of Maryland then talked about President Biden, saying that instead of taking the huge win they seem to have wanted to make happen, President Biden is risking the derailing of the bipartisan agreement. Well, folks, the White House pointed to comments that Press Secretary Jen Psaki made on Tuesday, where she stated that Biden made clear that he's going to work his heart out on getting both bills across the finish line. In regards to your tax refunds, folks, the March American Rescue Plan excludes the first $10,200 of unemployment benefits as non-taxable income. The tax agency said at least 13 million people who filed their tax returns before the change in law took place may be eligible for a refund.